This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video on my own personal YouTube channel. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. As always, it is very much appreciated. What we're going to do today now, as we move into July 2025, into the second half of the year, we're going to continue to review some classics and take a look at how the horses on Classic Watch 25 have performed, reviewing such an important process, such an important part of my processes. It's all well and good picking these horses, but how well are they doing? How is the site performing? You know, if the site was full with losers every year, chances are it still wouldn't exist. You know, that's the last thing I'm looking to deliver people, bad horses. So without further ado, we're going to pick them up again in this video around the time of June 2025, last month. What we're going to start off with is we're going to take a look at the UK Oaks held at Epsom, which took place on Friday, the 6th of June. We're then going to move forward to the 7th of June, where there was plenty of classic action on that day, 4 classics. 2 down under in Queensland, which will be the last time we visit Australia. In this video, we'll take a look at 2 races that were actually rescheduled for a week later than what they should have taken place. The Queensland Derby and the Queensland Oaks, I think they're in the reverse order to what I sent to them. Then the same day, June the 7th, we're back to Epsom for arguably the UK's Blue Ribbon Classic, the UK Derby for 3-year-old colts. And then we're going to go to the US of A. This will also be the video which contains the last American classic of the Classic Watch 25 campaign. We're going to take a look at the final leg of the US Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes, which this year was held at Saratoga. And then we're going to end the video by skipping forward 1 week to June the 15th. And taking a look at the French Oaks, the Prix de Diane, which this year, as usual, was held at Chantilly. What we'll do is we'll take a look at what races Classic Watch had, what horses, if any, Classic Watch had running in these races. We will take a watch at the races as well, and then we will take a look at how the Classic Watch 25 horses, are performing up to this day, the ones that have appeared in the races in this video. So without further ado, let's get cracking all the way back to June the 6th and the UK Oaks at Epsom. This race, unfortunately, where I went to get my videos from the usual place, it wasn't available. It just wasn't there. This year, well, it was there, but it was all pixelated, and I would say it was unwatchable. So this year, we have had to take the UK Oaks from the Racing TV website. Racing TV, who put a lot of claims on our videos, a lot of false claims that we have to fight, and we win when they watch the claim and they release claims. But this time we do acknowledge that we have used Racing TV's video, although we are allowed to use it for the purposes of fair use. They still shouldn't be able to put a claim on our video, but they will. But we're going to take a look at the UK Oaks now held at Epsom on Friday, the 6th of June. Classic Watch 25 had 4 horses running for it. The side had Mini Hawk and Whirl. 2, Aidan O'Brien, middle distance fillies, Mini Hawk, winner of the Cheshire Oaks, and Whirl, the winner of the Musidora Stakes at York, 2 Oaks Trials. And we had 4 lining up also from the UK 1,000 guineas, where we have our UK 1,000 guineas winner, Desert Flower, for Godolphin, had turned up to try and do the Classic Double. And we also had the UK 1,000 guineas 4th, El Wateen, who was also reopposing on the day at Epsom. So, without further ado, let's check out the race now on the Racing TV website, shall we? And see what we think.
They're set and they're off. for the 2025 Betfred Oaks, and Whirl is pushed forward towards the outside. Mini Hawk also going forward under Ryan Moore. So Aidan O'Brien 1 and 2, along with We Might Take a Long Way in the front trio. Back in fourth is the favourite Desert Flower in the all blue jacket. Killing Queen is in fifth. Then El Wateen. Back in the field to Giselle and Revoir, and Go Go Boots is the back marker as they head up the steep climb towards the 7 furlong marker, far off yet, and it's Whirl that's gone clear. 3 or 4 lengths clear of Mini Hawk in second place. We Might Take the Long Way in third. Desert Flower, her stamina's really going to be tested here. On the inside is El Wateen from Killing Queen, then Giselle and Revoir, and finally Go Go Boots at the back of the field, and must be a dozen lengths behind this leader, Whirl. Whirl not taking too many prisoners, still climbing, leads by 2.5 lengths to stable companion Mini Hawk. Desert Flower, the unbeaten favourite on the inside in the all blue jacket, William Buick. We Might Take the Long Way just outside her. They're followed then by El Wateen to the inside of Killing Queen. Further back Giselle and Revoir and Go Go Boots. They've done the climbing, they're now running downhill on the run down towards Tattenham Corner. And Whirl has made it all so far. Tracked in second by Mini Hawk. In third, We Might Take the Long Way. Then Desert Flower, the Guineas winner, back in fourth place. Followed then by Killing Queen, El Wateen, Revoir to the outside in the dark green. The shades of green then of Giselle. And still last is Go Go Boots as they run down the hill now towards Tattenham Corner with about a half mile left to cover in the Betfred Oaks. They swing for home and Whirl leads the way. Tracked through by stable companion Mini Hawk. Whirl and Wayne Lorden, Mini Hawk and Ryan Moore. Now William Buick is asking Desert Flower to try and go with them. We Might Take the Long Ways on the outside. Wider still is El Wateen. Desert Flower shifting off the rail under pressure now. On the outside, Killing Queen. Revoir is running on well as Mini Hawk draws up alongside Whirl. Chased by We Might Take the Long Way, and Desert Flower inside the 2. Revoir is out wide and Mini Hawk just goes on into the lead from Whirl. These two battling it out. We Might Take the Long Way, and then Desert Flower, who needs to find a lot more as they race inside the final furlong. Mini Hawk on the near side of Whirl. Mini Hawk near side, Whirl far side. Mini Hawk a nose in front of Whirl. Whirl won't go down without a battle, but it's Mini Hawk. Mini Hawk wins the Oaks. Mini Hawk for the Betfred Oaks. Narrowly from Whirl in second, Desert Flower back in third, and then behind those, We Might Take the Long Way in fourth.
30 Epsom Group 1s for Aidan O'Brien. 10 Oaks to go with 10 Derbies and 10 Coronation Cups. He dominates this place year in, year out, and he's had the second for good measure.
Yes, very good performance again from my little website there. It has to be said, Classic Watch 25 has done it again with a 1-2-3 in the UK Oaks to start the video. Mini Hawk, what a performance. Mini Hawk driven out by Ryan Moore to win the UK Oaks. Mini Hawk sired by Frankel out of a dam called Multilingual, who herself was sired by Dan Silly. Trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden by Ryan Moore, Mini Hawk was given a Racing Post rating of 119 for the UK Oaks. We're getting there now. Some decent fillies, getting some decent ratings. Well, the UK Oaks second, sired by Wootton Bassett out of a dam called Salsa, who herself was sired by Galileo. Lost absolutely nothing in defeat, it's fair to say. Another one trained by Aidan O'Brien, this one ridden by jockey Wayne Lorden. And the filly was allocated a Racing Post rating of 118. They put some good distance behind Classic Watch 25's UK 1000 Guineas winner, who could only finish placed in the Oaks. Desert Flower, sired by Night of Thunder, out of a dam called Promising Run, who herself was sired by Hard Spun, trained by Charlie Appleby and ridden by William Buick. Desert Flower was given a Racing Post rating of a well-beaten on the day 112. Fourth on the day was We Might Take the Long Way, sired by Australia, out of a dam called Don't Ask Me At All, who herself was sired by No Nay Never. That one was trained by Joseph O'Brien and ridden by Dylan Brown McMonigal and given a Racing Post rating of 110. The other horse for Classic Watch, El Wateen, fourth in the Guineas, sadly could only finish seventh in the Oaks. Probably hard to say whether she stayed with the trip or not. El Wateen, sired by Jubawi, out of a dam called Torquil, who herself is out of Teofilo. Trained by Saeed bin Saror and ridden by Jim Crowley, El Wateen was given a Racing Post rating of 99 for finishing seventh in the Oaks, the UK Oaks. But 1, 2, 3 for little old Classic Watch 25. Is there a more important site online than this little website? Hard to say, really. You know, it really is achieving superb things. Going to take a look now at our four horses. We've got Minnie Hawk, as you know. This is still lined up. She was, last time I looked, odds-on favourite for the Juddmonte Irish Oaks that takes place in 17 days' time on the 19th of July. That rating of 119, 20 more than the 99 she was given by beating Secret of Love by a length at Chester. Some staggering improvement there by Minnie Hawk. If the ratings are to be believed, the horse has never finished out of the first two in her career. Well, since Well has finished second in the UK Oaks, she's actually beaten the older fillies and improved. She's beaten Kalpana by 1 3/4 lengths to land the Pretty Polly Stakes at the Coa. Group 1 race back over 10 furlongs, running to 119, improving from her 118 she ran at Epsom and the 110 she ran at York. Brilliant filly. People find it impossible to knock these Aidan O'Brien fillies this year. Well is another one. She's also entered in the Falmouth on the 11th of July. That would be very optimistic, over a mile, I think. And she was another one that is entered in the Juddmonte Irish Oaks on the 19th of July. And she's not entered at all in any St Ledgers. Forgot to check her Minnie Hawk there to see if she was entered in any St Ledgers. Desert Flower sadly lost her unbeaten record. She's still rated 3 below the 115 she ran to when beating January by 5.5 lengths to win the Group 1 Fillies Mile last season. She's run to 112 on 2 occasions now. 112 when defeating Flight by a length to win the UK 1,000 guineas, and 112 again, beaten 4 3/4 lengths by Minnie Hawk on the day. It's disappointing for her to lose her unbeaten record. She has never finished out of the first 3 in 6 starts so far in her career, Desert Flower. She's still entered in the Falmouth, and she is also one that's entered in the Irish Oaks. It'll be interesting to see if Connections try a 1.5 miles again. I personally would be surprised if they did. El Wateen, after finishing 4th in the UK, 1,000 guineas on her second start, has finished 7th in the UK Oaks on her third start. Connections will obviously be slightly disappointed, I think, with this one. She ran to a mark of 106 in the UK Guineas and only 99 in the UK Oaks. Still yet to be placed in any pattern race at all. She's probably one that might benefit from a little drop down in class just to win the races that arguably she deserves to win. El Wateen is another one that's entered in the Falmouth. She's entered in the National Stakes as well at Goodwood, and she's also entered in the Matron Stakes on the 13th of September as well. So it doesn't look like much more of a 1.5 miles for Saeed bin Saror's charge, owned by Shadwell after that reverse in the Irish Oaks. All right, we're going to take a look now at a couple of classics that took place down under at Eagle Farm. This is the last time we're going to be looking at the Australian pattern this year on these Classic Watch 25 reviews. We're actually coming to the end now of the Australian season, really. This is the final month of the season. They become 3-year-olds on August the 1st. So Classic Watch 26 might have to go up a few notches in 2 or 3 weeks, depending on what horses are entered where from my maybe list. But before we have to do that, we have to complete the look at the 2025 Australian Classics. And we're going to start with the Oaks. Both these races, the Queensland Oaks was actually the one that was held back a week. It was due to be a week before the Derby, but the race was postponed. The whole meeting was postponed due to the weather. So what they did is they mix and match the two cards. So as a consequence of that, the Queensland Oaks and the Queensland Derby both ended up on the same card. What we're going to do first is we're going to take a look at the Queensland Oaks, a race which is over 1 mile 3 furlongs, as opposed to the 1.5 miles of the Derby. Unfortunately, there was no Classic Watch 25 representation in this race, where Lady Shenandoah and Broadside Inn have taken out Australian Classics in New South Wales and Victoria. But the Classic Watch 25 horses have been quite anonymous elsewhere, places like South Australia in Norfolkville, and the Queensland Classics now as well. They have seemed to be pretty anonymous. But let's take a look at the Queensland Oaks now, and we'll see what we think of the race.
Just waiting for the line to settle. Racing. In the end, Filia began well, and sweltering out wide was nicely away. Over on the other side of the track, good speed from Yu Wang and Pleasure Artist. Jenny's Meadows right up there with Poster Girl. Ella Hazel trying to find a spot. Filia for the moment, she can't get near the lead, but she's pushing forward about 6th and 7th as they drive into that first bend. Then came Real Class. Benadryl settling about 3 or 4 back over on the inside. Followed by She's a Dealer, then Churchill's Choice, Amplify inside that pair. Then Panito, moving out 4th last. Well back in the field was a Claire Encore, Misting and Sun Worshipper is last of the 18. They sort their positions out, they travel to the back straight, they've got just over 1,500 to run, and it's Shangri-La Impact in the lead. Filia has gone to second and sweltering from the extreme outside gate, 3rd to the fence. Not a bad piece of riding. 1 away 4th, Pleasure Artist. Then it came a length and a half to Yu Wang in 5th, and the pace is genuine. Jenny's Meadow lying 7th on the rail inside of Ella Hazel. Poster Girl was 3 wide and Better Jill parked behind that trio at the 1100. Followed then by Real Class, Amplified, Churchill's Choice, She's a Dealer. Moving out a long way back with Panito. They're keeping company with each other. Then a Claire Encore. Mystic and Sun Worshipper is last, 16 off the lead. Into the next bend, 900 left to run. Shangri-La Impact currently making every post a winning post. McAvoy's got Filia, the Oaks favourite, sitting pretty in second, getting a perfect run in the middle part of the race. Pleasure Artist 3rd the rail, sweltering in 4th at Ella Hazel, followed by Jenny's Meadow, and then came Real Class, Yu Wang. Benadryl spots them about 6 or 7, followed by Poster Girl. Panito's making a fast forward move, so is the Kiwi, She's a Dealer. Then Churchill's Choice, a Claire Encore. Amplified, moving out 3rd last at the bend, and then came Mystic and Sun Worshipper. They flattened for home and set sail for the judge of the Oaks. Shangri-La Impact led the way from Yu Wang emerging. Up on the outside was Ella Hazel. Filia struggling. Here's Panito with a big baldy face thundering down the centre of the track. Churchill's Choice running on fairly. Yu Wang on the inside, tackled by Panito on the outside. Then came Ella Hazel, Benadryl, Yu Wang on the inside, Panito on the outside, stride for stride, desperate go. Here comes the post photo. I'd say Yu Wang from Panito and Benadryl. 4th possibly Amplify. Not far away was She's a Dealer. Filia was next, then Jenny's Meadow, followed by Moving Out. Then came Ella Hazel, Real Class, Churchill's Choice. At the head of the others was Sun Worshipper. Then Shangri-La Impact. Well back was Sweltering, Pleasure Artist. Then came a Claire Encore, Mystic and Poster Girl last over the line. Another tight one. Another close decision for the judge, Yu Wang.
It was very tight indeed. The commentator was correct there. A fantastic finish to the Queensland Oaks, the penultimate classic of the Australian season. And the race was won by Yu Wang. Yu Wang, trained by Chris Lees and ridden by Tommy Berry. Sired by So You Think, out of a dam called Wang Hua, who herself was sired by Casino Prince. Unfortunately, no racing post ratings for the Queensland Oaks. The racing post just not confident enough to rate the races. It's just their way of admitting that they know nothing about Queensland racing. Second on the day, unluckily you would say, for Godolphin there. The horse just won in out of room on the day, Pinito, trained by James Cummings and ridden by Jason Collett, sired by Trapeze Artist out of a dam called Waltzing Vodka, who herself was sired by Sebring. Pinito going down by a short head on the day. In third place was Ben Agley. Ben Agley was trained by Glenn Thompson and ridden by Mark Zara, sired by Manhattan Rain out of a dam called Demoine, who herself was sired by War. 6-1 shot there. That's the 1, 2, 3 of the Queensland Oaks. Disappointing to the Racing Post rating. The Racing Post deems themselves not worthy enough of being able to rate the race. Why don't they just employ somebody with more knowledge? It'd be nice to see where these races fit in the general picture of the worldwide classics, but the Racing Post rating choosing not to be revealed for this race. We're going to stick to the same card now, and we're going to move forward one race, and we're going to go up a distance to 1 mile and 4 furlongs. We're going to stay at Eagle Farm, which is in Brisbane, and take a look now at the final Australian Classic of the year, the Queensland Derby. Again, unfortunately, Classic Watch 25 horses, there's not many of them in this field. In fact, there is none. We've had some problems with plenty of geldings, really, in a few of the Australian derbies. We will take a look at the result of this one after the race and see if this race suffered from the same problem, but there's no Classic Watch 25 representatives in either of the Queensland Classics, but we're going to look at every Classic we're figuring. Hopefully next year we will be able to find the sort of horse to give the site some representation in this race. We're definitely moving forward in Australia. You look at the 24 Classic Watch 24 horses in Australia, I don't think any of them ran in a Classic. This year the site, through Lady Shenandoah and Broadsiding, has managed to win 2 Australian Classics. So we have a little go out there. We've won the Sandown Guineas as well, a Group 2 race, through a horse not even on the site, Snitzenova. Some of our horses out there have ran very well. But unfortunately, no representation in the Queensland Oaks or Derby this year. Let's take a look at the Queensland Derby this year and see what we think.
Bit of movement in the centre of the line. Racing in the Derby. Existential Bob in the centre of the line was one of the first to go. Lavalia began well. Our Benefactor and Maison Louis were nicely into stride. And Imperialist, Berry setting him right down the outside, looking for a forward position. Statuario on the rail in the early stages with Beau Dazzler and Firm Agreement. Coursing a bit wide there was the Muffin Man trying to improve. Followed by King of Thunder. Wide was Champagne of Dreams, and then came Feminile near the rail, Citalote, just running out of some room as they go to the bottom bend. Then came Rogan, followed by Belle de Tel, one of the Derby favourites, second last in the first call, and last of all, Politely Done. They move to the side, 1,700 left to run. Imperialist takes up the role as pacemaker. The Muffin Man slides across to be second, and Lavalia is going to secure the box seat run third the rail. One away fourth, Existential Bob, and then Maison Louis lying fifth over on the inside of our Benefactor. John Allen has Statuario centre field over on the inside of Firm Agreement as they head down the back straight, and Beau Dazzler outside the pair, covering ground 3 and 4 wide. Now Belle de Tel's having no luck at all. It's in fact 4 wide and pushing on. McDonald is searching for a more forward spot. King of Thunder also off the track, and then came Feminile just chugging along near the rail, followed by Deep Focus. Then came Chase Your Dreams. A long way back was Citalote with Rogan and Politely Done, last of the 17, 12 off the lead. The Derby field now goes towards the 1,000-metre back bend, and in a long, sustained back straight move, McDonald has taken Belle de Tel to the lead. Out by 2 to Imperialist, with Barry happy to let it go and sit second, surrendering the front. Racing third, the Muffin Man. Fourth, the Rail Lavalia has had a good run. Existential Bob, Beau Dazzler always wide. Statuario sneaking inside runs, saving valuable ground at the 700. Maison Louis, that bunch that our Benefactor, followed by Deep Focus, King of Thunder wide, then Firm Agreement. Feminile is tracking right behind Statuario, stalking into the race at the right time. Politely Done coming wide with Chase Your Dreams, and out at the tail was Rogan Josh. Heading for home in the Derby, 400 left to run. Belle de Tel's done a power of work. Imperialist came in it. Lovely up on the inside. Wider Existential Bob. Statuario running on fairly with Feminile. King of Thunder is down the outside. There's 5 in line. Lavalia on the inside. Maison Louis all of a sudden shot the the gap, 100 to go, shot to the lead, and the Derby might be over. Maison Louis pulling away, he's too good for them. Maison Louis first, beat King of Thunder, Photo third, Chase Your Dreams, All Avalia. Then came Belle de Tel, Imperialist, our benefactor, followed by Politely Done, Feminile. Then at the head of the others was Existential Bob Rogan. Following them in was Citalante. Statuaro finished a long way back. Imperialist might have got him twice, then Bodazzler, and the Muffin Man last, bar one, Firm Agreement. Maison Louis, number 10, Ryan Maloney, wins the Derby from King of Thunder. Number 4, Mark Zara. Third, Chase Your Dreams.
Very interesting race, that, I thought. I thought they might have possibly gone off too quick. It looked to me like the pace kind of collapsed in that race a little bit to me. Queensland Derby, to my untrained eye as an outsider. But take nothing away from the winner there, Maison Louis, a good winner on the day. The winner of the Derby by a length. Let's have a look, you see. You've got the Gelding. The filly was third. The first 5 homes were 1 filly and 4 geldings. That's the sort of thing Classic Watch 25 is up against out in Australia. Obviously, we're not looking at identifying geldings in the slightest. The first colt home in 6th place was a Deep Focus. And then we've got another filly there. And then we're back to the geldings, more geldings than colts. It's fair to say in this race again, and that's not the first time we've noticed that in these Australian derbies, especially the Derby rather than the Guineas. There's plenty of geldings around when they're up to the middle distance trips. But this one was won by Maison Louis. Maison Louis, trained by John O'Shea and Tom Charlton, and ridden by Ryan Maloney, sired by Super Seth out of a dam called Cote d'Or, who herself was sired by McPhee. Again, the Racing Post choosing not to rate this race at all. Second place was King of Thunder, trained again by John O'Shea and Tom Charlton, a 1-2 for the trainer. This one ridden by Mark Zara, sired by Tivachi out of She's a Babe, who herself was sired by Zabil. And in third place, the first filly home was Chase Your Dream, trained by Ben, Will and J.D. Hayes, and ridden by Rachel King. This horse sired by Contributor out of a dam called Dare to Dream, who herself is out of O'Reilly. Godolphin there, finishing the 4th place with 20-1 gelding Lavalier, sired by Microphone out of a dam called Accessories, who herself is out of Singspiel, trained by James Cummings and ridden by Kevin McAvoy. Very interesting race, but yeah, too many geldings in the Australian derbies this year would be the overriding thing I'm taking away from the Australian Classic campaign of 2024-25, which is now over. Yeah, that's it. They've been a pleasure to cover them. And we're going to skip forward a day now and go back to the UK. And we're going to take a look at the UK Derby now, held over 1.5 miles back at Epsom. Initially, Classic Watch 25 had 3 horses running for it. On the morning of the race, they had the UK 2000 Guineas winner, Ruling Court, looking to do what Desert Flower couldn't do and win 2 classics. And we also had 2 new Aidan O'Brien horses. We had the winner of the Group 3 Aiken Stakes as a 2-year-old, the Lion in Winter, lined up first. And we also had Delacroix, who had been prolific at the Group 3 level this season, I think winning 2 Group 3s. To go with the Group 3, he won at 2, the Autumn Stakes. Unfortunately, though, on the day, Ruling Court was declared a non-runner for Classic Watch 25, which left us with only the Coolmore 2. One of them, the Lion in Winter, was very closely related to Ruling Court. So if they pulled Ruling Court out, people obviously had to be very worried about the Lion in Winter. A difference of opinion, the Lion in Winter was allowed to run, whereas Ruling Court wasn't, both horses having the same second dam. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at the UK Derby now at Epsom, and then we will see what we think.
They're ready. All set. And they're away for the Betfred Derby of 2025. Lambourne is pushed along, wants to go forward. Tornado Alert is prominent. On the outside, Damasus with the big white blaze, and Sea Scout is handy as well. Near side then, Lazy Griff is going forward. Tornado Alert not far away in the blue with the white cap as they round the little right-hander. And it's Lambourne that takes them along from Lazy Griff in second. Midak is close up in third. Sea Scout is on the outside, climbing the hill. Right there to the line in winter out wide of Pride of Arras, who's in the leading 7 or 8. A little bit rough in places here. Greenstorm round the inside. Our Wassel Storm. They're followed then by New Ground towards the outside, just behind Pride of Arras and the line in winter. Back in the field, Stanhope Gardens is on the inside from Tennessee Stud. Out the back, Night Walker and Nighttime Dancer as they continue to climb. Rogue Impact towards the rear, and Delacroix is probably fourth last at the moment in the purple and white jacket worn by Ryan Moore. It's Lambourne, though, Delacroix's stable companion, that leads the way and has 2 lengths at least over Sea Scout in second. Lazy Griff is third and Midak is in fourth place. Then a couple of lengths again to Damasus, and on the inside is Tuscan Hills. They're followed by Green Storm and Tornado Alert and Pride of Arras towards the outside. Behind these, our Wassel Storm and Stanhope Gardens of the line in winter and Rogue Impact, and then Tennessee Stud further back in the field as they make their way down the hill. And out towards the rear of the field is New Ground, Delacroix with a lot to do at this stage. Night Walker right out the back with also Nighttime Dancer. Lambourne on the run down to Tattenham Corner. It's Lambourne that leads the way here in the hands of Wayne Lorden. 2 lengths to Sea Scout, the trial winner. They're 4 lengths clear now of Midak. And then on the inside, Lazy Griff, followed by Tuscan Hills and Damasus. And behind those, Green Storm. Lambourne trying to run the sting out of them, trying to run the legs out of his rivals here. Leads by 3 lengths. Lambourne entering the final 3 furlongs. Sea Scout, Lazy Griff. Midak back in fourth place, followed by Green Storm. Stanhope Gardens begins to run on well. Tornado Alert down the outside, and then behind these Tennessee Star, but Lambourne has led all the way, and he's still 3 or 4 lengths clear, and he's racing home relentlessly in the Betfred Derby. Lambourne by 4 or 5 lengths out in front from Lazy Griff. Stanhope Gardens, New Ground stays on, but Lambourne is relentless and is unchallenged and strides away. Another Derby for Aidan O'Brien. Lambourne wins, Lazy Griff in second, Tennessee Stud for third, New Ground down the outside of Stanhope Gardens, and then came behind those Nighttime Dancer, Tornado Alert and Green Storm.
Well. What an incredible race that was. The UK Derby at Epsom, safe to say, delivered the outcome that on the day not that many people expected. With victory going the way of Aidan O'Brien yet again, taking out the Oaks on the Friday, taking out the UK Derby on the Saturday with Lambourne. Trained by Aidan O'Brien, ridden on the day by Wayne Lorden. Wayne Lorden second in the UK Oaks, winner of the Irish Derby, winning jockey. Lambourne sired by Australia out of a dam called Gossamer Wings, who herself was sired by Scat Daddy. Lambourne running to a Racing Post rating of 122, which to be fair was a very good rating at this stage of the season for a UK or an Irish middle distance horse, you would have to say. Lambourne, I thought on the day, was a fairly convincing winner by 3 3/4 lengths. Back to Lazy Griff was second. Lazy Griff, sired by German sire, Protectionist, out of a Danish dam, Linarda. What more can people say? Who herself was sired by Rock of Gibraltar. Lazy Griff was trained by Charlie Johnston and ridden on the day by Christophe Soumillon, and the horse was allocated a Racing Post rating of 116. Who would think that a Danish-bred mare would ever be able to sire the runner-up in the UK Derby? Just goes to show, in my view, what an average race this was. Tennessee Stud was third, beaten 4 3/4 lengths. Tennessee Stud sired by Wootton Bassett out of a dam called In My Dreams, who herself was sired by Sadler's Wells. Group 1 winning 2-year-old, trained by Joseph O'Brien and ridden by Dylan Brown McMonigal. And the horse was allocated a Racing Post rating of 114 for finishing third in the UK Derby, a rating which will probably struggle to win an all-age listed race, to be fair to the horse. Fourth for Juddmonte was New Ground, trained by Henri Francis Devin and ridden by Alexis Pouchan, sired by New Bay, out of a dam called Gaining, who herself was sired by American Post. New Ground supplemented horse, ran to a Racing Post rating of 114 on the day. Regarding our horses, obviously very disappointed on the day. The 2-1 favourite Delacroix, sired by Jubawi, out of Teppin, who herself was sired by Bernstein, trained by Aidan O'Brien, ridden by Ryan Moore. Delacroix could only finish ninth, beaten 16 lengths and run into a very disappointing Racing Post rating of 96. And the other horse we had in there was the 14th place, the Lion in Winter. The Lion in Winter, sired by See the Stars, out of Waterhome, who herself was sired by Lope de Vega, trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden on the day by Colin Keane. The Lion in Winter could only finish 14th, beaten 27 3/4 lengths, run into a Racing Post rating of 77. Absolutely appalling run by the 14th place Lion in Winter, it's fair to say. But it could have been worse. They could have been Ammo Racing or Wafnan finishing 16th and 18th and not having a horse run above 60. Ruling Court, sadly a non-runner, so he might have had his classic runs for this season. Delacroix, we're going to take a look at now. Delacroix, you'll see, finished ninth after finishing second in a Group 1 at 2. He's a triple Group 3 winner with his best rating of 117. But that ninth place arguably could have exposed the horse a little bit. Delacroix, it's fair to say. And he needs to be on a comeback mission. Interesting that Connections chose not to let him take his chance in the recent Irish Derby that we will probably start the next Classic Watch review with. But Delacroix has entered this upcoming week in the Eclipse over 10 furlongs, and he's also entered in the Sussex Stakes on the 30th of July, also entered in the Juddmonte International and the Irish Champion Stakes and the Arc. So there's no St Ledgers up and coming for Delacroix. Lion in Winter, well, what can people say? The horse was beaten 6th by Prix de Diane in the Dante when the horse ran to a mark of 103. And then the horse was beaten 14th in the Derby, running to a mark of 77. The horse just doesn't look like the same horse as the 116 rated Group 3 Acomb Stakes winner last year, where he had the subsequent UK 2000 Guineas winner Ruling Court behind him on that day. So it's interesting. Again, you'll have to say that the Lion in Winter has it all to do in 2025 on the back of his first 2 runs of the year. Plenty of entries. 20th of July, the Group 2 Minstrel Stakes. 30th of July, Group 1 Qatar Sussex Stakes. 23rd of August, City of York Stakes, Group 1, that new race, over 7 furlongs. The 24th of August, Celebration Mile, Group 2 at Goodwood. 13th of September, the Champion Stakes in Ireland. And the 5th of October, also entered in the Arc. So it's safe to say, really, that Connections, I don't think, have given up on the Lion in Winter. But, yeah, very disappointing Classic Inn campaign. I was hoping to see him run in a lot more classics than the one he appears to have run in. Another one that didn't line up in the Irish Derby last week. And, yeah, got it all to do in the second part of the season, in my opinion. Right, we're going to move forward a few hours now and head to Saturday evening and head back to the good old US of A for the final leg of the US Triple Crown. Only 3 classics in the US, the Belmont, the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont and the Preakness. We do add it up to 4 and include the Kentucky Oaks. But there's not really any similar races. We suppose we could have done the Acorn here, but that's for future reference, I think. But the Belmont Stakes was a classic. The fillies are able to run in the Belmont, the 3rd leg of the US Triple Crown. This year's run-in was held at Saratoga. I thought we had a fairly strong hand in this race. We had the Kentucky Derby winner, Classic Watch 25 horse Sovereignty, had turned up to try and win his 2nd classic of the season, taking on the winner of the Preakness. And we also found 2 new horses to add to our US teams. Hill Road, who is the Ammo Racing horse who used to be trained in Ireland, who won the Group 3 Peter Pan Stakes. And we also had Baeza. Baeza is a half-brother to 2 classic winners, who the Kentucky Derby, Mage, and Classic Watch 24 horse Dornock, who in fact won this race, the Belmont. Baeza actually had finished 3rd in the Kentucky Derby prior to this race, before we put the horse on the site. So let's take a look at the Belmont Stakes now, and then we will see what we think.
They're in the gate. And they're off in the Belmont Stakes. And as expected, Rodriguez bounces out very quickly. Uncaged has plenty of early interest, as does Crudo, who sprints up alongside Rodriguez. Journalism secures the 4th spot. Baeza's a little bit keen. He is in between horses and 4 lengths off the lead. Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty cruises up along the inside and is suddenly sharing the 2nd position. Hill Road is 2nd to last, and Heart of Honor is at the back of the field. 7 lengths covers them through an opening quarter that went in 23 and 2/5 seconds. And so the lead belongs to Rodriguez, who's in front by a half length. Crudo alongside 2nd. Sovereignty galloping strongly right next to his rival Journalism. Journalism puts his head into 3rd. Does that Preakness winner. A length and a half behind them comes Uncaged. Baeza is 5 or 6 lengths off the lead. Hill Road and Heart of Honor. They're heading toward the half-mile pole. Hall of Famer Mike Smith and Rodriguez carved out that half in 47 and 3/5 seconds. Crudo a length and a half behind him in 2nd. Journalism in the clear, getting a good trip. Uncaged at the rails. Sovereignty in between those 2 is 5th now and 4 lengths off the lead. Baeza has asked for a bit more at this stage. He's hard-ridden. 6 lengths off the pace. Hill Road is trying to match strides with him. Heart of Honor has dropped out. 3 quarters in 1:12 and 1. Journalism makes a decisive move with a quarter of a mile to go, and he takes command of the Belmont Stakes. Sovereignty angles out to try and run him down. It's a rematch of the Kentucky Derby as they come to the 8th bull, and here comes Sovereignty. Sovereignty goes right by Journalism once again, leaving absolutely no doubt who the best 3-year-old in the world is. Sovereignty and Junior Alvarado in the Belmont Stakes. Journalism was 2nd. Baeza finished 3rd.
Well. Classic double out in the USA for little old Classic Watch 25, as Sovereignty follows up his Kentucky Derby victory with victory in the 3rd leg of the US Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes, which this year was held at Saratoga. A very dominant performance, it's safe to say. That was a magnificent performance by the horse, brushing aside a classic winner like that in Journalism in such emphatic style. There is no doubt, like the commentator said, who the best is. Sovereignty, sired by Into Mischief, out of a dam called Crown, who herself was sired by Bernardini, trained by William Mott, and ridden by Junior Alvarado. Sovereignty run in to a Racing Post rating of 126. In 2nd place was the Kentucky Derby runner-up and Preakness winner, Journalism, sired by Curlin, out of a dam called Mopatism, who herself was sired by Uncle Mo. Journalism trained by Michael McCarthy and ridden by Umberto Rispoli, running to a Racing Post rating of 118. And in 3rd place was Baeza for Classic Watch 25, 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, 3rd in the Preakness as well. Baeza sired by McKinsey, out of a dam called Puka, who herself was sired by Big Brown. Baeza trained by John Shirefs and ridden on the day by Flavian Pratt, running to a Racing Post rating of 111, beaten by 6.5 lengths. Hill Road, the other Classic Watch 25 participant, could only finish 5th. Hill Road, sired by Quality Road, out of a dam called Exotic Notion, who herself was sired out of Lemon Drop Kid. Hill Road, trained by Chad Brown and ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr., was allocated a Racing Post rating of 105 for finishing 5th in that race, the Belmont. Might as well take a look at the 3 horses individually since then. You'll see that I don't think any of them have done anything. Sovereignty has now won 4 out of 7 starts. The horse has finished out of the first 2 once in 7 starts. Is 1-2-2 in the Kentucky Derby, 1-2-6 in the Belmont. The horse certainly heading in the right direction, it's fair to say. Sovereignty, very good performance. Baeza was allocated a rating of 118 when he was second behind Journalism in the Santa Anita Derby. 117 behind Sovereignty. This time only a mark of 111. Furthest defeat of 6.5 lengths by Sovereignty in the Belmont. Good solid horse, yet to win a stakes race though. And that surely will be on the mind of connections at some point. Hill Road, you'll see there, was allocated a mark of 110 when he won the Peter Pan by 3/4 of a length. Also allocated a mark of 104 when third in the Group 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year, when he was beaten by Citizen Bull. And this year he finished 5th in the Belmont, running to a mark of 105. Solid animal, but arguably the horse is going to fall short, I think, at the top level. But Ammo Racing can be proud of the first foray, I think, into the US Classics that we've noticed. And Hill Road, more than worth a place in the race after winning the Group 3 Peter Pan Stakes prior to the race. Right, we're going to skip through a week now and show you the final classic of this video. We're going to head now to June the 15th and back to France for the first French middle distance classic, well, intermediate classic, over 1 mile, 2.5 furlongs. Oh no, we looked at the French Derby last race in the last video. This is the second one. This is the French Oaks, held again at Chantilly. Classic Watch 25 had 2 horses going for us in this race. We had Better Together, I think a horse that finished around 5th or 6th in the French 1,000 guineas for us. And we also had Kankura, the Persian King-sired, Aga Khan-sired filly, who we had picked up after she won a listed trial prior to the race. So let's end the video watching the final classic of the video, the French Oaks, the Prix de Diane, and then we will see what we think.
All 12 fillies set under orders, and away they go for the Prix de Diane. And Bedtime Story a little bit slowly away. Looks like Ryan Moore took her in towards the inside as the early lead is being taken on, not surprisingly, by Merrily on the inner. Taking a prominent position, Rosa Salvaille with Zia Agnesi up on the outside. Also trying to find a little bit of coverage. She's perfect on the outside. She's being tracked by Mandanaba. Better Together and Colin Keane right on in the centre. Towards the inside, San Gazelle in the striped jacket, being followed by Doré et Deja. And right at the back of the field is Bedtime Story. So the Aidan O'Brien horses first and last as Merrily begins to lead them towards the right-handed swing. Zia Agnesi settles in second. She's perfect, and Kieran Schumacher on the outer third. Rosa Salvaille fourth. Then Better Together races in company with Gazora. Following Gazora towards the outside, Mandanaba's getting a little bit closer together with Kankura. These are followed by Rosa Salvaille, who hasn't really got much room on the inside, San Gazelle. Then further behind, American Gal, Doré et Deja, and still at the back of the field is Bedtime Story, past the halfway point, down towards the 800, and Merrily still leads the way by a length and a half. She's perfect in an ideal position in second on the inside, Zia Agnesi. They're followed by Mandanaba, who's moved into fourth with Better Together on the inner of that one. Then further behind these are Kezora on the outside, and on the inner, Rosé Salvaille down the home straight to the 400. Merrily now treads water, and here's She's Perfect with Mandanaba. Better Together is trying to follow those. Kankura's moving up on the outside. Also trying to get into it is Gazora, but now it's Mandanava who hits the front with chasing Kankura in second. Better together on the inner, on the outer is Gazora. Mandanava, Gazora, here's Bedtime Story down the outside. Gazora goes to the front from Bedtime Story, and Gazora scores from Bedtime Story in second. Kankura third, Mandanava fourth, and back in fifth, Dore et Deja. Well supported throughout the exchanges in the last 24 hours, and Gazora and Christophe Soumillon has come storming through on the outside. Bedtime Story, coming from a long way back, has grabbed second. Third goes to Kankura, fourth to Mandanava, with Dore et Deja back in fifth, and Better Together sixth.
Frustrating race there.
Third Prix de Diane for Christophe Soumillon. Gazora.
A frustrating race there, really. You're not paying to listen. You're not here to listen to them. You're here to listen to me. So we will shut them up. And a disappointing race, really, for me. Really, I was hoping that one of my two would figure and maybe be good enough to take this race out. But no, the best Classic Watch 25 could manage in this race was third and sixth, with our two horses as the winner. A good performance on the day from Gazora, trained by Francois-Henri Graffard and ridden by Christophe Soumillon, sired by Almanzor out of a dam called Germans, who herself was a Group 1 winner out of a dam called Silverhawk. Good performance, racing post rating of 118 there. The fillies holding their own over the middle distance was a bit more than they were over the mile, it's fair to say. Second place was the fast finishing Bedtime Story, trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden by Ryan Moore, a horse sired by Frankel, out of a dam called Mecca's Angel, Group 1 winner as well, who herself was sired by Dark Angel. Bedtime Story was allocated a racing post rating of 115 in this race. And third was the Classic Watch 25 horse Kankura, another one trained by Francois-Henri Graffard and ridden by Clement Lecouvre. Kankura sired by Persian King out of Candalia, who I think might have been a Group 1 winner as well, who herself was sired by Dalakani. There's certainly some good horses in that line. Kankura was allocated a racing post rating of 115 on the day. And then, just like in the Derby, you'll see that Lecouvre on the second string beat the first string. Mandanava finished fourth, trained by Francois-Henri Graffard, ridden by the retained jockey Michael Barcelona, sired by Gayath out of Mandisha, who herself was sired by Desert Style, running to a racing post rating of 111, Mandanava. But again, Azinpour doing the job, doing rather just like Azinpour in the French Derby, the second string out riding the first string. Yeah, very good performance, I thought, from the Classic Watch horse Kankura. Back in sixth place, we have the ultimately it's proved to be disappointing horse, Better Together, a horse sired by Oasis Dream out of a dam called Shared Account, who herself was out of Dunsilly. The horse trained by Andre Fabre and ridden by Colin Keane. The horse given a racing post rating of 107 for finishing sixth in this French Oaks. You have to say, really, that she has been ultimately disappointing. She's ran in both the Guineas and the Oaks and has not managed to be placed in either. Kankura was given a mark of 101 when she won that listed race at Longchamp on the 22nd of May. She's now shattered that with another best performance of 114 to finish third and classic placed, by far and away the best horse sired by a stallion. This is his first 3-year-old Persian King, and this one is probably going round miles better than anything else I've seen by the stallion at this point. Be interesting to see where she heads next. Obviously, being a French horse, no entries in the UK and Ireland at this point. Better Together, you'll see there, a solid enough filly, a Group 3 winner in April, but she's finished 5th and 6th in the two classics. No doubt she's fallen short, ratings of 108 and 107 to go with the mark of 106 she was given for winning that Group 3, and connections really have sort of decided that is around she is what she is at the moment, 107, 108, 106. In her last 3 runs, ultimately disappointing classic horse. I was hoping she would be good enough to at least figure and get a placed effort in one of the two classics, but she has sadly fallen short in them both, finishing in 5th and 6th place. Very disappointing, really, I think it's fair to say, that filly. Right, I think we can leave this video here now, I think. This Classic Watch review, I think, has run its course. Thank you very much to everybody who has chosen to take the time and watch the video. As always, it is very much appreciated. What I will do is I will leave a copy of the Classic Watch 25 review playlist, not the actual horses, the actual website playlist, so you will all be able to see all the other reviews that have taken place at this up to this stage, if you so desire. We're obviously at the end now of two of the processes, the Australian Classic season and the US Triple Crown, firmly in the back seat now. We've still got 2 German Group 1 Classics to look at, though, the German Derby and the German Oaks. I imagine they might both figure in the next video, as will the Irish Derby that was run last week and the Irish Oaks. That is run on July the 19th. It might be quite a while now before you see another review video. We're doing quite well where we want to be with them. At the moment, we've still got races like the UK St Leger, the Japanese St Leger, the French St Leger. We've still got the Irish St Leger and the 2 Irish middle distance classics to show you. So we'll also probably be interspersing some Australian classics from 2025-26 at some point as well. But for now, I think I'll leave this video here. What I will do is I'll leave you an option as well. For those that have watched this review without subscribing to the channel, I will leave you all an option to subscribe to the channel as well, if you do so wish. But for now, I think we'll leave this video here. What we've got coming up this weekend, well, it's the Eclipse. 2 Classic Watch 25 horses, Classic winner, Camille Pissarro, winner of the French Derby, and a horse we looked at in this video, Delacroix, looked to be possibly flying the flag for Classic Watch 25 against the older horses in the Eclipse, including the winner of the Prince of Wales at Royal Ascot, Ghostwriter. So yeah, plenty upcoming, but I think it's safe to leave this video here now. Thank you very much to everybody for watching. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Enjoy the rest of your week and take care of yourselves, everybody. Goodbye.